Hey guys, what's up? And welcome to the channel. My name's Chris. We already got somebody in the house tonight. How's it going, guys? Hope you had a great Friday. Everything's pretty fantastic over here. It's hot. It's cooling down tonight. And we're going to be talking about tools, talking about stuff that's new, stuff that I picked up that's new, and maybe stuff that's interesting to you guys. So we're going to be talking about Milwaukee. We'll be talking about Harbor Freight. We're talking a little bit about DeWalt, and who knows? We'll let you guys help with that conversation. So we'll kind of let people join in, and then we'll continue to talk about tools. So we got Fryer Technology. What's new? Milwaukee has a new heated jacket using their USB power pack. Well, I did get a chance to go to Home Depot. I did see a lot of jackets. I think to me, it's a little too soon for putting out that heated wear in the stores. Just me. Still 90 degrees this week. It's still pretty hot in the garage. It's still pretty hot in general. So it'll be interesting to see when those things start selling. Probably more towards October or November, but that's just my 2 cents on that. But yeah, there is some new heated technology. Speaking of heated and technology, there is definitely some deals coming out for Labor Day that's going to be just around the corner before you know it. We're about a week away. Get an extra day to your weekend holiday. But we can talk a little bit about, well, let's start off talking about some Harbor Freight stuff. So if you are not familiar with Harbor Freight, it's supposed to be a discounted tool place that sells tools to kind of meet all of your needs, whether it be good, better, best. Got a lot of coupons, discounts, and deals, but a couple things that they had that's new that might pique your interest would be lighting solutions. So when I talk about lighting solutions, we're going to be talking about garage lighting. So we're going to be talking about your lighting fixtures that would go on your ceiling. So they finally released some of their new lighting solutions that allow you to daisy chain up your lights. And that's probably something that I've been waiting for a long time, although I happen to already buy into basically stuff for my garage. And I can pick up one of them here and show you. So I bought one of the off-brand, really super slim LEDs. This is the Barrina, Barrira. Yeah, well, they're T5s. Not sure if you can see that. But that's the brand. They're 5000K. That's what I use in the garage. So if you wonder or like my lighting, or you think it's pretty decent, or you think it's too bright, that's what I use. It is the Amazon special. Got 8 of these T5s for around $58. And we got 7 of them up. This one every now and then goes behind me. So you can plug them all in each other. That's right. It's got the light on one, daisy chain them how you want. And then it's got a switch. So that is exactly what I use. But if you don't want to pick an Amazon special and you'd rather go with a brick and mortar store, Harbor Freight's got their new plug and play lights. You can daisy chain. They got 2 different styles. One will do 4, one will do 8. One of them's a single filament, and then they do have one that's a double filament. So that's new at Harbor Freight. Might not be at your store yet, but it is online, Joey. Just Wrench It. Matt, how's it going? Appreciate you joining. I know Matt was live tonight and got a chance to jump in there before I got the kids to bed. Joey, I think my lighting's great. I couldn't complain. Yeah, let me see if I can post a link here. Again, Barrira T5 5000K is what they are. I picked up the 8-pack of them, but I'll just post a link to a brand in general that is them. Now, I like 5K lighting because it's white enough, but it's not blue enough. and it's not yellow enough, it just gives you a really good crystal clear daylight. And that's why I like 5,000 lights. I actually like 5,000 K lights for my automotive solutions as well. I don't like that blue tint, and I don't like the yellow tint. So daylight is what I like. So this is an Amazon link. I don't do that affiliate stuff. I buy kind of what I like. And if you guys happen to like it too, then that's more, bang for my buck. And, if it works good for me, hopefully it'll work good for you too. So there is a link for the Amazon. Again, not an affiliate link, just a straight up link right to them. And it looks like they raised the price a buck or two. They're $59.99. I paid like $58, I want to say, for them. So yeah, quick, easy installation. It's you can chain them, and they're for the most part flush mount. There's just a little metal clip that goes right on the sides, so it's less than a quarter of an inch that's going to be hanging down. Plus, the light itself is about an inch and a half. So we got Shaka Gillis in the house. Just a quick public service announcement for everyone. Ryobi is not Shaka Gillis's thing. And if you see some of the tools behind me there, I mean, everybody's got their own personal brand, their personal preference. But I can tell you, I don't have any Ryobi that I continue to rock and roll with. I did maybe back in 2006 to 2007, give or take, just before the lithium batteries were coming out. So I had some old orange and blue, yellow and blue, but not anymore. But I did pick up some red, and I did pick up some yellow. So if you follow me on Instagram, I did swallow the red and yellow pill, and we picked up some Milwaukee and some DeWalt. So we can show you what that is. I can tell you that it's going to be kind of short-lived. If Mrs. Graphics has her way with my tools, they may or may not already be non-operational, but we picked up the drill impact driver kit with two 1.5 amp hour batteries. This is the 2650-620, so like a Gen 2 brushed, and then we picked up the DeWalt Atomic. So those were Home Depot deals. Home Depot's got, like I said, their Labor Day stuff going on. What I should have picked up was the XR with a 5 amp hour battery. That one's the one made in America with Global Materials, and I think that's like $129 or $139. The Atomic ended up being, it really feels a lot like the brushless XR. That's the higher end model. This is a brushless too. It's got the spot, which would be for your variable speeds on it. It really feels the same. It doesn't feel like it's any lighter than the XR. It just feels like it's missing all the bells and whistles. I do like the tri-lights on it, but yeah, needless to say, we're going to have Mrs. Graphics chuck these up. We're going to rock and roll, make these hot, have her run them until either they die or she does, one of the two. We'll see which tool brand there outlasts. They're completely different. So everybody has their own personal preference, how they like to do, comparisons. I like to compare a little bit of the same and a little bit sideways, because not everybody is going to like these two brands. Not everybody can afford these two brands. And you get a comparison of what these are with something else. So that's why even when I do some of the ratchet torture tests, people are like, well, you're comparing a fixed head with the flex head. You can't do that. Guess what? I can do that. We can all do whatever we want. That's the great thing. And it just gives people a little bit of an opportunity to see different things in a different way. So we got Slosson's Lawn Care in here. And yeah, somebody also did mention, I got a Mac version of that one. It's an Animal. Yeah, they do make a Mac version similar. And the nice thing about Mac is they're one of the few that can interchange their batteries with DeWalt. But I did stop on the Mac truck this week. Yeah, I really like my Mac guy. He's pretty cool. We did pick up the 1/4 inch Mac Access locking flex head. So that is something new that we're adding, which we're starting to fulfill our collection of 1/4 inch. So that way we can basically do a smoothest ratchet test for 1/4 inch as well. So I still need to get a Matco 1/4 inch. And I'll probably pick up maybe a Koken or a Nipros or something like that. That way we can throw in something that people say is the smoothest or the lightest and really see, in addition to kind of the big 3 or 4, however you want to look at it. I saw actually a Cornwell truck this week, but the Mac dealer was already there, so he turned around and didn't stop. So I don't know. It'll probably be Mac, Matco, Snap-on, and then again, we'll just get everything else in between there. So how do you like that icon box behind you? Piston Honda 87 said, it serves its purpose. I fill it up. It's almost full to the brim. I'm still waiting to fully get everything organized because I ordered in new drawers for it, and they haven't arrived yet. So when they arrive, we'll fully get everything organized, and then we'll move on to the next steps. So there's some people out there that buy their tools. Some people that buy their tools and they complain about them. And then there's some people that buy their tools knowing that it's not going to be exactly what they want, and they're going to customize it along the way. And that's how that thing was. So it's been well over a month since we've ordered our drawers, and hopefully they'll come in the next couple of months. We'll see. We're going to take right there. There's the bank of 3 smaller drawers, and we're going to get rid of 2 of them and make it 1 drawer. And then if we get carried away, we might order in another drawer that'll take out the 2nd or 3rd small one, and then that one too. So we might go from an 8 to a 7 or a 7 to a 6. I haven't fully decided yet, but we'll know as soon as we go from 8 to 7. It's just how it is. And then maybe I'll be happy with it. But we're not changing the color or anything like that. Let's see. Slauson Lawn Care said that Ryobi green makes me green money. You know what? And it could. It probably does, and it could probably make me money too. There's just other things out there. I mean, when I hired in to have some help with my windows, and we put some pocket windows in the house, the guy showed up and he had all Ryobi stuff. It worked. Couldn't complain. Got my windows put in, and then we have, let's see, in the next 2 weeks, we get another 9 windows done in our house, and then we'll be just about where we need to go. The Made in America DeWalt is kind of a silly thing. Yeah, it is kind of an interesting thing, the way they assemble those, but it is what it is. They do their best to slap a name on there. It makes you feel better. What do you do with the drawers you pull out? Keep them? I try to build myself some. I haven't really decided yet. I haven't got that far. I haven't got the new drawers to take out the old ones to really feel what I'm going to do with them. So we'll see. It makes him money because he is in the tool repair business. I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, Ryobi launched a bunch of new brushless things. I can tell you they're not in my Home Depot, but we will see very shortly what and how those operate. What's the cost of the drawer change? It depends on the size. So I think the drawer change to do 2 of those drawers, so the 36 and the 22, it's around like $85-$90, something like that. Do not rob me. Love the pawn shop. I could watch more pawn shops. You know what? I've been thinking about doing some more pawn shops. I go to them pretty much once a week. It's just haven't always found time, and sometimes it just kind of impedes the progress that I'm doing for shopping. Some people carry a camera with them all the time and get that rigmarole going. I don't always have time for that. Sometimes it's about get in, get out, get done with my business. And I've really slowed down, really trying to do at least one video a week. If I do more, it's a bonus, both for me and for you guys. But we'll finish off with a couple of the new stuff that we picked up this week. So the first one is kind of a joke, so bear with me. We did finally pick up showcase piece for all of our free lights that we picked up at Harbor Freight. So I've had the free lights for a while. Finally picked up the last light in a packaging and took it up to the register, purchased my light, and said, you guys are going to probably throw that away anyways, aren't you? Can I just pick that up so that I can showcase that? Because Well, I can, because that's about the only thing Harbor Freight's given free lately with their coupons. So I'm still going to pick them up. And I think it's pretty funny. So I do have some Rigid in Milwaukee too. Not brand loyal, just use what works. Yay, got to do that. I stole a Milwaukee set for $250 at Home Depot. It's brushed. I think it's better than brushless. You know what? I guess it was $3.99 for you. So, I mean, the price is right, I guess. One theater group in my area uses Rideaway for everything you do. It works for them, and it's in their budget. Yeah. Old School Repair Shop said, I have my box for some months now, and I already need a bigger box. Yeah. I kind of look at it now that I kind of have my box fairly full. We'll talk about the next thing here, which some people might like to talk about. Some people might not like to talk about. Some people use them. Not everybody use them. We're going to talk about nut drivers really quickly. So these, I can tell you, it depends on what industry you're in, if you're going to use nut drivers or not. So one of the other new items that came out from Harbor Freight was their Icon nut drivers. They are 7 pieces. You can get the SAE or the metric, and they're running you about $49.99 before any coupons, discounts, or other promotions that they have. So, I mean, is that really a good deal? Well, I mean, if you want to go cheap, you can get the Harbor Freight store brand, which is pretty cheap. If you want to get cheap at like Home Depot and figure you only need the SAE in about 3 or 4 common sizes, you can get their common electric set for $12. You can get their Husky brand. They have the acetate handles on them for about $17. You can get the Husky brand that have the handle that turns into a T for under $20. And those that are the handled ones that turn into a T for extra leverage are they're not flat hex nuts. They're the multi-purpose ones. So those are going to have the splines in them. So some people may or may not like them. And then they'll also have the Milwaukee ones there as well. So, I mean, if you do HVAC stuff all day, every day, I mean, you're probably going to be in a lot of the 1/4 inch and 5/16. And then if you do some more electrical work, you're probably going to be in your 3/8, 5/16, and 11/32. So this one only has 4, doesn't have the 11/32. That might be one that you want to pick up. But I can tell you that those 4 and adding another one may be quite a bit cheaper in other brands. So, I mean, the Icon ones, they come with that nice tray that you get. Oh, yeah, the Klein Made in USA 7-piece deep well nut driver set, $49.99. I think the Home Depot has them for, let me see, it's like $52. Is it? And yeah, those would be made in the USA. So that's going to be $54.97 for the Klein Tools 7-piece set right there. $54.97. Yep. So that's, yep. Thank you for mentioning that. I did have that. But then the other thing is you can get some of the multi-purpose like 14-in-1s that have the bits that come out. And then it also has some of your 3 or 4 or 5 different common sizes of nut drivers. Those are like $16, $17. And then they don't take up as much space. So these nut drivers, I mean, you got to figure for each size, it takes up a lot of room. Let me see if I do have, nah, I don't have it over here, but I have a couple multi-tools as well. So those definitely do work really well. And I appreciate you mentioning those. Greg says, I have the old USA Craftsman nut drivers. Are those the tri-lobed ones, or are those still the acetate that look a lot like the older screwdrivers? Because I really wanted one of those. Didn't get a chance to get some of those sets, and I settled for some Husky ones later on in life. But yeah, Greg, I'm kind of jealous because I wish I had some of the, I think they were like tri-lobed Craftsman USA. I just bought some SK stuff with their sale. Yeah, they've had, 15 or more % off. And then they had a good clearance sale going on, 1/2-inch flex head ratchet. Almost picked that up, but then I decided, I'll be able to stay away. Connor says, hello, sir. Hope you're well. What bolt is best for fitting these nuts? Well, it depends on what are these nut sizes, because there are lots of nut sizes out there, and I probably have a bunch right in front of me. But you know what? There's a driver out there to fix everybody's nuts. So, fine, sir, you got to find out what the right size is first. And everybody's got their own way to find it out. And I can definitely tell you the way my dad did it was basically took a coffee can and dumped that stuff out and said, organize them. And then he dumped them out again for me. So there's just a lot of people these days that don't know the right nut size when they look at them. What is the best time to go to work in 5 hours? Klein versus Harbor Freight Icon. Give me a Klein any day. But I found the Weehaw is king of screwdriver style. You know, I kind of love or hate all screwdrivers. I didn't get a chance to check out all of the different German brands out there. So while I don't know all those brands, I do hear there's really good German brands out there. I guess the thing is that you really have to think about, just because I don't use nut drivers and the mechanics in the USA don't use nut drivers doesn't mean that it's only limited to HVAC and electrical workers that use nut drivers. There are other countries out there, and you're very right. So even in the automotive industry, you can look at and say, well, you know what? There's a lot of people that use T-handles where they don't do them over here. The T-slides, it's just a difference in the way people work. Client, you keep falling for these jokes. Yes, I do. You type them, I read them. So it's one of those love-hate things. If you unfortunately type that in there, it slows me down. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a super fast reader, and we don't sign up to be on YouTube to be a super fast reader. We're here to talk about tools, and I guess you could say that I am a tool. How are you liking those machinist approximate so meter behind you? Oh, you mean this one here? Yeah, that's another thing that I picked up this week. So I've had the bigger one for a while, but this is the 4-inch. I actually picked it up yesterday, and that's what completed my Harbor Freight light right there, where I got the whole box with the single light. So I picked up this, got the light for free, got the box for free, and then added it to my stash of lights. So I haven't got a chance to play with this, but you know, honestly, for $14.99, use 20% discount coupon on that. They're accurate enough, honestly. So, I mean, you'll be fine. What's the shift thing hanging behind you? The shift thing. Oh, this is a motorcycle jacket. So that's basically got your rainproof inside, your elbow pads, things like that. So I had a Honda F4i. It was a 94, and that's what it was the red, yellow, gray F4i, and that's what I wore with that one. And then I had a Suzuki SV650 with the fairings on it. It was in a bright blue color. It did not match that, and then after that I had a Kawasaki Vulcan Mean Streak that was gray. So it worked out good for that as well. So had one accident, and ever since I had one accident, I've always geared up full gear. So full face helmet, full pads, and pants as well. So jeans and another layer on it. I'm loving the Icon box too, Tactical Fisherman. So thank you very much. Tecton Toolbox. You and Tony Technician deserve a free box. That's my vote. You know, Tecton's a different kind of company, and I wouldn't expect them to give anything away for free, honestly. If they give one out, sure, that would be great. But I look at it this way. Tecton has a straight up discount. You know what you're going to get. You're going to get your 10% cash back. They run sales very rarely. So they'll run their Thanksgiving or Christmas special. And, I remember their SEMA discount, they gave away 15% on top of whatever their regular price was. And so they're pretty straight up with their pricing. I don't feel like they got a ton of margin built into everything. So they just do kind of what they want to do. And I believe they partnered with somebody new, and they're going to do stuff on YouTube for them. So we'll have to see how the Tekton relationship continues. But I think they offer a great bang for their buck. And I really like Tekton. I mean, I can't complain. I think it's a great segue into somebody that's, just wanting decent priced, good tools at home, as well as entry-level mechanic or technician, or even somebody that's a seasoned mechanic that wants a full master set at home. You can get that on the cheap at Tekton, and I think it'll do a really, really good job. But thank you, Don't Rob Me. We got Joe Smith in the house. Get ad blocker. Shaka. I got one. I run ad blocker. It's got like a red, blue stop sign. Ryan Peterson, how's it going? Can you do Hyper Tough through an air wrench review? That's kind of one of those things where it's similar to me, like think about Ryobi. There's just certain brands that sometimes you are willing, that you want to jump into, and there's other brands that you don't necessarily want to run into. And there's a couple things that I've got from Hyper Tough. Honestly, there's probably nothing really wrong with them. The one thing that I really do like from Hyper Tough is the USA made red handle breaker bars, or sorry, the red handle pry bars. Sorry. Yeah, you can break stuff with them too. But the Hyper Tough red handle with the striker cap, made in USA pry bars. Those are some good stuff, and those are the ones that I own. But other than that, I probably won't look at any of the Hyper Tough stuff. I mean, I've done air. Air was something that I jumped into like super early in the 2000s. Bought some of the very cheap air stuff and found out right away that you don't go cheap on the air stuff. And I bought decent Ingersoll Rand things. And that was back, I'm not sure who Matco rebrands with now, but at the time when I bought some of my stuff, Matco was basically an Ingersoll rebrand. And so I've just bought decent air tool stuff ever since. And now it's starting to get more into battery. Hey, don't compare Hyper Tough to Ryobi. I didn't necessarily compare them. I mean, everything's surprising. Right there, I picked up a Hart Tools. I mean, never thought I'd pick that up. I'd compare that to Ryobi before I'd compare anything. Sorry, just saying. That one honestly feels very identical to the Ryobi Impact. Have you ever tested any adjustable wrenches? Crescent wrench. I picked up the 12-inch Doyle at Harbor Freight today for work. Looks good. Very good quality. You know what? That's actually really funny that you mentioned that. So here's a couple of my adjustable wrenches, because that was on the list to talk about as well today. So this is an 8-inch Wright USA. And then we got a 10-inch Craftsman USA. And then we have the 12-inch Jesse James adjustable wrench. Now, those are all fine and dandy to carry around. You really got to look at the slop that they have on like the 3-spindled gear. So it's kind of like Channel Lock, to me, has the patent or priority on having 4 splines or threads on their gear, however you want to say or talk about that. The Doyle ones aren't bad. But I did pick up this bad boy today. This is the Milwaukee 8-inch wide adjustable wrench. Now, to me, when you look at your adjustable wrenches right there, they have the most that I've seen. So that's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's got one more than Channel Lock. And this is the 8-inch wide. So Channel Lock also makes the wide jaw. And I will tell you that the wide jaw is really nice in the sense. So here we got that 8-inch Wright Tools. And it's the same size. So we got an 8-inch and an 8-inch. But this is where the 8-inch standard falls short. So we got our wide jaw that'll match that 8-inch at about 3/4 of an inch. So that's an 8-inch. Now we bring our 10-inch. So this is a 10-inch Craftsman USA. And this is going to be pretty similar to your Doyle one. So if you get the 10-inch, well, here's the 8-inch. So it's able to match the 10-inch. And we can now go up to a 12-inch. And believe it or not, here is a 12-inch adjustable wrench. And we're going out to 1.5 inches. And look at that. It is literally identical, if not slightly larger than a 12-inch. All in an 8-inch package. So when you get a chance and you figure out how much stuff you have to carry around with you, if you're able to put the amount of force you need on an 8-inch tool that'll fit in your bag, you've literally are now able to replace 3 wrenches for the price of 1. How great is that? So if that doesn't work for you, you could also go with the plier wrench. So this is roughly, I can't remember if this is their 12-inch pliers wrench from Knipex. Look at that. Get you 2 inches. So it's even longer than the wide jaw 8-inch. And it still allows you to get a bunch of torque on there and not damage or grip onto your fasteners. Strip out some brass, strip out some plastic, mark it up. And so to be able to have this 8-inch Milwaukee wide jaw and be able to replace a 10 and a 12-inch, that's pretty cool. I really like that. I guess it depends on what you're working at. You may need some extra leverage, but I firmly believe that this is a big enough handle that if you need to throw some extra leverage on there, have at it. Just make sure you know that you're going to put your force on the fixed side of the adjustable wrench and not on the internal. So when you put your fastener in there, you're always going to be pulling on that side. But that's just me. We'll probably do a video on that one. I don't think I've seen anybody. So if you were to do a YouTube search for a Milwaukee wide jaw adjustable wrench or just Milwaukee wide jaw, there's nothing that comes up. So it's unbelievable that Milwaukee can have this tool out for quite some time. Not a single person. So I'm sure there's a lot of Milwaukee fans out there, but they must not be a fan if there's not a YouTube video about that 8-inch wide Milwaukee that can replace a 10 and 12-inch. That's just my 2 cents. I think it's a pretty sweet tool. I picked that up for about $22, the channel lock version of it for their wide jaw. They do make a wide thin jaw, but Milwaukee doesn't make that. I don't see a lot of need for a thin jaw at this point in time, but they do have it. That looks cool, but an 8-inch adjustable wrench is not big enough to apply torque. It just depends on what you're working with. So that's why I mentioned I do feel like that handle is definitely beefy enough that if you need a piece of pipe to throw on there, throw it on there. We got Dominic in the house. Up, Chris. I'm just curious if you're going to have any future review comparisons with impact drivers, adding the Ryobi brushless. Well, if I get a chance, I can tell you I did ask at my Home Depot if they do have any of the new Ryobi tools. They do not yet. And so if I'm able to get one in a reasonable amount of time, I would probably be very open to picking one up, even though I don't have anything into the Ryobi line. Just saying. Hart is okay, but Ryobi is much better, and the baseline brush Ryobi is equal to Hart. So I have that one back there. That's why if I would get a Ryobi, it would probably only be the new stuff. And a Hart isn't a bad tool for the money. So it honestly, when I looked at the majority of the tools, it really is about the duty cycles. It's about the amount of batteries that the money that you're going to throw into the batteries and how deep you want to get into a tool line. Let's see. Are they forged or cast matters for the adjustable wrench? You know, I didn't really look at it to see if it had any of those big bullet points on it. It just said chrome plated rust protection, and that's pretty much about it when it came to these. Yeah, didn't say anything outside of that. But I mean, I don't think it's going to be any worse than the Harbor Freight Doyle ones, to honestly tell you the truth. I'll have to look and see if I can find some more marketing material on it. If anyone who wants all of my adjustable wrenches, come and get them. I'm now converting to Knipex push button plumbing tools. I can't complain. These work pretty good, and I really do like them, and you can put a ton of leverage on them. I think this is the Gen 2. I think they have a newer one out. I think the newer one, if I recall correctly, is more of the black finish on it than the silver. But I guess somebody will have to correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. But I'm pretty sure that that's not the newest generation of them. We got Frank Landgriff in the house. How's it going, buddy? Thanks for joining. Always great to see you doing live chat. Very informative. Thanks, Tom. Tom, if you got something you want to know, or if I can give you 2 cents, definitely will give it to you. 2 inches matters. All the difference. It might be on the handle side if you need that extra leverage. But as far as that wide jaw goes, I'll tell you, I'm pretty impressed. Let's get through the chat here. I'm not even worried about the new One Plus. I have the regular brushless Impact, and it's absolutely amazing. That's great, Dominic. I can tell you the Milwaukee brushed here compared to the Atomic DeWalt brushless, as well as all of those tools back there, it doesn't matter what it is. It gets the job done. For the most part, it really comes down to personal preference. Tell you that this tool works really well. Tell you that this DeWalt works really well. I can tell you I like the Tri-Light better than the single front-facing light. Again, it's all just personal preference, but they both get the job done. Battery life may be impacted 5 to 10%. I still think that's very trivial depending on how you think about things. The thing I love about Ryobi is the amount of tools you get with one battery platform, and they've promised to never change that battery platform. Yeah, but if they ever do change it, then that'll be very detrimental. So it really, that one battery that pokes up the center, I don't know, that just keeps the handle just a little bit different on them. But yeah, if they ever change that, that'll definitely be a killer. I can see them losing a lot of people about that. I just picked up the DeWalt 3/8 Impact, 1/4-inch impact driver, and the 1/4-inch screw gun. I'm impressed so far. Only had them one day. What do you know about them? Well, I know that Home Depot is going to be having quite a few sales going on. So I don't know where you got them at, but make sure you hold on to your receipt. The Atomic, like I mentioned earlier, was on sale for 2 batteries, the tool, and a charger for like $129. They had the 1/4-inch XR, which is the higher end model, with a 5 amp hour battery. I think it was like $139 or something like that, which was a pretty good deal. You really have to look. I can't remember what all the exact deals were going on as far as DeWalt. Let me see. They had buy more, save more, and the deals currently, which started on the 3rd, so if you got them at Home Depot, was if you spend $4.99, you save $175. You spend $3.49, you save $90. You spend $1.99, you save $30. That was the DeWalt deals. Plus, they had a couple different tools on sale, but definitely check those out if you didn't get them at Home Depot. If you did, all those sales were going on. People like that battery style of the Milwaukee or don't. The wobble is the only complaint I hear. Yeah, I could definitely see that. But if you really think about it, it's not going to fall off the tool just wobbling like that. I don't ever really hold the tool by the battery. So once you lock that battery in place, as long as it's on there, it's really not going to go anywhere in my mind. Chris, I like how professionally you deliver reviews. You say what it is not, what it can do. Keep it up. John, really appreciate it. it really is coming down to my own personal opinion, and that's what I like. No tool company owns me. The only person that owns me is my wife and my kids, and I try to deliver on exactly what I think is the stuff that might be interesting to you or the stuff that's interesting to me. That's just how it is. So thank you, John. You got all three for 320, and they all came with 2 batteries, 2 amp hour batteries, charger and bag. Yeah, doesn't sound too bad. I do like batteries. Like the options of Bare Tools. I do too. What tool truck you frequent, if any? Right now, it's been the Mack truck. Other than that, before it was the Snap-on truck. So pretty much just those two. We do apparently now have a Cornwell truck that runs around, but I've never been on that one, and no Matco. What? No mention of Makita. Oh, so you want to know about Makita. So Makita does have some deals going on too at Home Depot. They have their LXT brushless 1/4-inch impact with, what size of battery is it? I think it's the 3 amp hour battery for $100. They have the sander, the hand sawzall, the multi-tool. Those are around $99 to $119 to $129. But the 3 amp hour drill and impact driver for $100. Those were a pretty good deal. So that was the drill. That was the impact driver. Sorry, those probably aren't coming in very clear. And then they do have their big sale here. This is the they have 3 different bundles. So you can get buy one of these and you get the free 2 amp hour lithium battery. So they have 1, 2, 3 different sets. If you buy the $229 to $279 sets, so those are the 2 tool bundles, the impact and the drill, you get a free 2 amp hour battery. And if you buy their highest end impact driver kit with 2 5 amp hour batteries for $400, you get a free 5 amp hour battery. So that's kind of like good, better, best. And you just get more with it. So I'll post some of those on Instagram when I get a chance later. Let me put my Instagram link in the chat. And if you think it's funny to do Instagram or you're just not hip on it, that's cool. That's not a big deal. I can tell you that I have won more free stuff on Instagram than anywhere in my entire life, just by tagging people and following people. So there is a link to my Instagram in the chat, and I post stuff as well as quite a few other people out there that you may follow in the tool tube land of YouTube that we know it. And it's an easier way to connect with all the favorite people that you like on YouTube. And it's an easy way to instant message people or say, hey, what do you know about this? Or just look on there and see what's going on. We got somebody that says, I was lucky enough to pick up the 2 Sawzalls for $210 with 2 5 amp hour batteries. Work great. That's a heck of a deal. I never win anything. Well, I can tell you I've won a couple things. And some of the times they just have free stickers out there that you can win. So Ryan Peterson's, definitely check out Chris's Insta. He posts some great content. You know, some of the stuff that to me is just a little too short for like instant promos and things like that, 15 to 30 to 1 minute, I'll just post a quick little video about stuff that I saw or stuff that, we're talking about tonight, like the nut drivers. So, well, how did I know about those? Or why did I talk about those? Well, I posted on Instagram like a 20-second little clip of the icon from Harbor Freight nut drivers. And the reason I posted those is because of one of the Facebook groups I was in. Somebody's like, well, they say they're hollow, but how hollow is the shaft on the nut drivers? So I talked to the store manager and said, hey, I'm kind of interested in these, but I'm really interested to see how deep the shaft on the nut drivers is. And he's like, well, we can open up and you can take a look at them. I said, that'd be awesome. So as soon as he opened them up, I said, oh, I got to get this on camera to see how this is, and I got to compare it to some of the tools I have at home. And then I get a chance to share it with you guys. So I think Instagram's kind of cool. So appreciate it, Ryan. Brian Max says, looking for battery tools for my niece who just bought a house and is remodeling as part of it. Ryobi would be my choice for her. She's using her parents' Ryobi at the moment, but I recommend I probably would recommend it too. If you look at the sense that the family's kind of already moving into that one thing, one of the biggest things is going to be batteries. So if you can start sharing batteries or tools, if you have friends or relatives that would be willing to do that. Some people don't like to share their tools, but if you can do that, then it definitely makes sense for me. What can you tell me about Ridgid? I thought they were up there with DeWalt and Milwaukee, but in your video, they were middle of the pack tools I thought they would smoke. Well, I can tell you that Ridgid Gen 5 came in a drill driver, 2 amp hour batteries, a charger, and then I got 2 4 amp hour batteries for like $179.99, I think it was. So if you take out the batteries that you got on promo, it really comes out to be one of their like $129, maybe $99 drill impact driver deals. So they're not the most expensive Ridgid. It's not their high-end Ridgid. So to me, it wouldn't compete and it wouldn't blow away the high-end stuff. But what I can tell you on that one, I can tell you I put together a whole entire deck. It was a 12 by 15 deck with that tool and 4 batteries. And so the thing is it works. So just because one tool finished better, I believe I mentioned even the worst tool out of all the battery tools that I looked at in my last video, it still worked. Now it comes down to a time factor. If there's a time factor of 3 to 5 seconds between a fastener, it might really be, it's kind of like splitting hairs. But if you figure you're going to have 1,000 fasteners and you have 6 seconds, well, that's 6,000 seconds. It's really easy to do the math and divide that by 6 and say that's 1,000 minutes. 1,000 minutes now transfers over to hours. So that's a different story. But if you're really looking at something small, then it doesn't really matter. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Do they make those nut drivers in 4-point? Not that I'm aware of. Get brushless, and it seems Ryobi never does package deals on those. That is true. Hopefully they'll make that different with some of the new stuff they're rolling out. Yeah, because I went to look at, literally my Home Depot is sold out of Ryobi stuff. They used to have a ton of impact drivers. Now they only have their low-end base model that comes with the drill and the impact driver for, I think it's like $100 or something like that. But they didn't even have any of the $79 to $99 brushless impacts. And hopefully they'll get new stock in pretty soon. Chris, would you rather have $2,000 shopping spree at Home Depot or Harbor Freight? Oh, I don't know. That's a toss-up. If I'm doing a kitchen remodel, I'd probably rather have it at Home Depot. If I was just doing tools, I'd probably go to Harbor Freight. So it really just depends on where you look at it. I think you can get a lot of tools. If you use just straight up tools, Home Depot's closer to me than the Harbor Freight by like a long shot. We're talking like 2 miles for Home Depot. We're talking 12 miles for Harbor Freight, which is like a 50-minute round trip, where Home Depot's like 7 minutes. So it's a toss-up, man. You have to come down to specific tools. Even with Lowe's, I mean, like if I want the cheapest lumber, I'll go to Menards. If I want better lumber, I'll either go to Lowe's or Home Depot. It's just easier to pick through them in my mind. Some material I can't get at Lowe's that I can get at Home Depot. So I'm very thankful that within 3 miles, I have all 3 of those home improvement stores. But definitely a good question, Ryan. I use Ridgid professionally, says Andre, and have never been sorry for it. They are great tools for the price. And I can honestly tell you, if you watch one of my videos, I've been in the Ridgid line since around 2007, 2008. So I've had my batteries replaced once by them and haven't had any issues with any of the tools. And then when we went to redo our deck, I had my now he'll be 16-year-old son in September with me, and figured we'd pick up an extra tool. So that's where we picked up that Gen 5 there, so that we could both work on the deck at the same time and get it done. Still took us a week to do it, but it got done and it got taken care of. And that one, along with the X2, it survived and it worked out very well. We got Bama Mud Mower. Doug, how's it going? So yeah, I mean, I really like all my tools and I really can't complain with any of them. If I did complain, there's really only 2 or 3 or 4 different things that I really haven't been happy with over time. And I'm not afraid to share one of them, which is a Craftsman light, which, man, I don't even have it with me. But I got that on sale and I bought 5 of them, and the batteries thankfully were worth it for the price, but the light was junk. I find Home Depot's has much better lumber than Ryan says Lowe's has much better lumber than Home Depot. And I found that both of those have better lumber than Menards, just saying. Hey, wouldn't 4-point be actually 8-point with an adapter? Well, then you're going to want to go with Spline. So Spline Drive is going to get your 4-point. I believe they market it on there that you can get your square fasteners. So I don't know too many square fasteners that are produced this day and age. I remember a lot back from the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Aren't U.S. Generals like $1,000? Could you get a nice U.S. General at Harbor Freight with $2,000? You could definitely get a nice U.S. General for $2,000. If you get their 44-inch, I believe it is, you can get like the green one. Those are like around $500, and you could get their bigger 56-inch plus for under $1,000. I don't know what their current coupons are going for now, but yeah, you can get a lot of U.S. General for $2,000. Cobalt looks interesting, but I don't need another platform for sure. You know, I hear you there. Once you're in a battery line, that's really where it's at. We got Dominic with the $5 super chat. Probably going to head out soon. Just wanted to stop by for a little bit. Dominic, really appreciate you, stepping up to the plate there with $5, dropping in. Really, thank you. That's way more than, we're just here to have fun. We're here to talk about tools, and I'm glad you could share a little $5 tool love. So if there's something that you want to see in some of the next upcoming videos, I can tell you that Mrs. Graphics may or may not get her hands on these and chuck them up, and we'll have to see which get hotter, one of these impact drivers or my wife. So she doesn't make too many appearances in my videos, but I think she's going to make an appearance in one of the next videos when we test out those tools. You did a video on a breaking point of hex impact adapters, and the best was around 70 foot-pounds. Can you explain how they don't break? Oh, it's because of the way the rotational force is happening. So we did just the shear twist off, and that's all one strength, one tension movement where you're doing your shear twist off, where the impact is centered around a center point where you have basically 2 anvils. So think of it like this, and they're impacting, and they're hitting it with little light hammers. So the rotational force of that impact is hitting it up here and transferred to the center and down. And so the way that impact force works on the rotational around that center point transfers 100% different. And that's why, like, when you would have a drill, there's going to be a force acting upon your hand with the drill. So I know this is an impact driver, but when you have a drill and it catches, it rips your hand because of the way that the forces work. The impact driver, everything is in the center and down the middle. So that's why you can hold an impact tool and all the force comes out here rather than from the user holding the tool. So they just basically have to put it upright and all the force goes that way. So it's just the way that impact rotational center force works. Sorry, that's the non-scientific way to say it. It's physics and science, and this is really not the place for that, but the basic is there you go. We'll go on. BWZ, I think I'm done with 2A Ed U. He gives long. I don't even know who that is. Trouble is finding lumber in many places, let alone quality stuff. Oh, one other place that's pretty decent is we have what is it, 84 Lumber, and they're not too bad. They're really pretty close to me. And yes, I agree with you. The lumber prices have jumped up a little bit in price as well. Yes, especially with pressure. Yes, that is definitely true. I'm really glad that I built my deck 2 years ago. We did everything pressure treated for the under, and then we put in they're not vinyl planks, but you know what I'm saying. We put in all of the plastic for it. And then actually, believe it or not, the most expensive part was our powder coated aluminum rails, which I about had a heart attack when I found out how expensive those were when we put those on. So it was actually really difficult to find good powder coated aluminum rails. And then once you find the ones that you want, you just fork over the cash for them because they're not cheap. But we found some good ones, and we really liked them. They have a little slight texture and grip to them rather than, it seems like 99% of all the aluminum hand railings and whatnot that we looked at just had a very high gloss finish on it. And I wanted a flat finish. So we ended up getting ours at 84 Lumber, and they were still way more expensive. And I measured 3 times, cut once, and cut a $200 railing long. So if I can ever impart any experience on you, when you make your first cut, make sure you are starting with your smaller pieces on your deck rather than your larger ones. So is that the right way? Anyways, the one that I cut down, no, start with your larger ones. That way, if you mess up, you can use it in a smaller spot. So yes, start on the larger sections of the railing first. If you cut it too short, then you can move it to the shorter spot. And I actually did it the wrong way. I cut the short one too short, and then I was not able to reuse it. So as Zaphael said, I'd always want to make a cut too long than too short. That's truly what I would want to make it. But if you start with the longest part of your railing, your decking, or wherever, and you cut too short, then you can use that thing that you cut too short on a shorter part. So that'll save you money. Hopefully it'll save somebody. But if you're going to mess up, nobody can stop you. What have people found for plywood costs? 3/4 CDX, 34. I think they're about $32.99 here, so about the same. So don't feel too abused. Zaphael, they're lucky if they get a bundle on the truck. It's still not full. Yeah, that's the other thing. A lot of places don't have them. So they're kind of charging what they want. So let's get through the last couple things that I got new. Oh, wait, we got through all of them. So that was pretty handy. Oh, I did pick up some Masterforce torsion bits. These are the 2 and 3 inch long ones. So I don't know how they're actually going to work out. I haven't used them a whole lot, but I can tell you they've held up okay for the price. I just needed something that was a little bit longer. I reminded myself when I was doing the testing, so I haven't got a chance to get all of the Rockwells done on the bits, but I reminded myself, maybe everybody's got their own personal opinion. You know, people don't really typically change bits out too often when they're midstream in a project, unless they really screw them up. But unless you get a really good tight bit holder, these number 2 squares, they really grab into the fasteners really tightly. And unless you are picking up decent priced bit holders, the cheaper ones or the sleeved ones are just pure garbage, because it seems like these square number 2s pull out and stick in the fastener. So that's where your 2 inch and your 3 inch bits, to me, if you're working with your square number 2 Robertsons, I really just dislike the 1 inch bits 100%. And I picked up this set, and yeah, the long extensions on it, garbage. So yeah, I would pass on that one. But yeah, so just realized Tom Petty's music was good with Chris's life. That sounds awesome. Anything. I don't do any kind of audio with this. It just, I've been thankful enough that I haven't been hit with any demonetization things. Always try to pick from a library that's free and haven't had any real problems with it. Try to keep the language family friendly and go from there. Let's see. I got some of Menards Masterforce SDS bits. They seem to work pretty good. Yeah, I do too. I cut it 3 times. It's still too short. Yeah. Sorry if you covered it, but what are the 2x4s behind you? Oh, those are just Southern Yellow Pine. So those were used in one of my last 2 videos. So we used those in who makes the strongest or best Torx T25. And then we've used those in the impact driver tests. And then we will use those in the who makes the best Robertson square number 2. And we'll do a couple more impact driver tests. So we did 6 of them. Then we'll add these 2. And then on top of that, if I get a chance, we'll replace out probably the Hart tools for the Milwaukee. We'll replace out that Amazon Special with the DeWalt. And then we'll take the Rigid with the 2 amp hour battery, and we'll keep that in. And then we'll bump up the 4 amp hour battery. And then we'll take the Cobalt XTR with the 2 amp hour battery. Then we'll bump it up to the 4 high amp output. And so then you can see if there's a difference between the 2 amp hour and the 4 amp hour with the same brand of tool, as well as throw in Milwaukee and DeWalt. So I think that would be pretty cool. And it really plays off really well to the last video we did. Just remember, the worst Robertson is better than the best Phillips. That's really pretty true, except for if you're having to remove them and your bit pulls out with the Robertson, because for me, that's probably the biggest that I've had so far, is I've probably worn through two to 3 bit holders, but that's just life. No Makita. Yeah, I haven't done any Makita yet. It's really expensive to get into power tools, and honestly, it's fun, but it's really expensive. So jumping into Milwaukee and DeWalt, that's like $300-400 right there. And then it's really not necessarily about the tools. It's about the battery platform. So once I get into the battery platform, then I'm there. I figure it's a decent, what is it? It's a 5-year warranty on the tool, 2 to 3 year minimum on the battery. I think it's 3-year is it 3-year battery on Milwaukee? And I don't know what the battery warranty on DeWalt is, but I figure, gives us 3 years worth of content. So if you wonder if I'm going anywhere, sorry, nope, you're stuck with me. So that's why it's a good channel to have this dialogue and a good opportunity to talk about it. The Freak, thoughts? Love it. Decent. Really great. Really good battery technology. And it's a really good tool in the hand. It feels really well made. It's got good plastics, and I haven't had any issues with it. The one thing on the chuck, depending on how you look at it, because it's got that square on it, I've had some number 2 bits that just seem like it sits deeper in the tool than I would like it to, but haven't had any problems with it. Seems like the bit, like this is what I mean when it sits deeper in there. It seems like it has a little bit of play in there that I wouldn't like, but at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal. So that's probably the only thing about it. But the tool, worked flawlessly. I ran this sucker for 4.5 hours straight, doing 3.5 inch construction screws, cycled out 3 batteries. So we got 3 chargers, 3 batteries, and it was use one, put it on the charger, use another one, swap it out, and then run the 3rd battery. And by the time we ran out the 3rd battery, this one was fully charged, and we cycled that out for 4.5 hours. Ran those tools to upper 180, 190 degrees, and it just kept on taking a licking. Any recommendations for reciprocating saws? I have had the cheap Harbor Freight one forever, and it finally bit the dust. Really, Ryan, it's going to be whatever battery platform that you're in. I can tell you, if you have any older reciprocating saws, Any new one made in the last 2 to 3 years is gonna be amazing. I went from an 8-year-old Rigid to a new XTR, and the thing just ate everything alive. So anything new, it's gonna be where it's at. Important question. Has your wife seen all those tools? Yes. Yes, she has. She has seen all the tools, and she's commenting about them, and she's seen the receipts about them. So Mrs. Graphics, she's actually out of town for the weekend. So while the wife's away, the tools will work. I think that's what it is. Are you okay to do any real world testing with those impacts like Mrs. Graphics cabinets? Yeah, we'll definitely do some of those. Although the impact tools won't be used a whole lot on there because we're going to just be refinishing the cabinet faces on it. There's probably one area where I would like to make a custom cabinet and go all the way to the ceiling. But the reality is it's just to cover up the last, I think we have what, 9-foot ceilings in our kitchen. And the cabinets go up to about 7.5, 8 foot. And so there's just really another inch or another foot or two that we need to finish off. And we'd have to take out a whole, it's like a built in that's about 3 feet by 8 feet, give or take. So to finish off that last foot, to redo all of it, I don't know. We'll have to see. Might be able to build something in since we're going to refinish it all anyways, that we just go all the way up to the ceiling, but we'll figure out. How is that Icon box treating you? Says Dick Skinner Shop with the Snap-on tools. Well, no complaints so far, other than I need to figure out how to make that thing even. So I need to figure out if I'm going to get another 36-inch or a 22-inch. But I'm still waiting for my new drawers. I'm going to get rid of 2 of the small drawers and put in a bigger drawer. I think it's like that. So those are about like 2-inch drawers, and we're going to put in a 4.5-inch drawer. That's probably the only complaint is that there's too many shallow drawers, and we're going to get some bigger drawers. But waiting for those to come in. So hopefully about another month, and I'll have new drawers. I'm going to go with some Cobalt Black Friday. Yeah, there you go. Maybe some more Ryobi. I'm not really worried on the batteries. I have picked up a variety of them at the recycling center. Yeah, see, that's the thing that people always forget. Everybody keeps saying, well, Cobalt's going to die, things like that. Okay, well, so what if they die? Well, then I'll invest in a battery welding machine. I mean, there's YouTube videos out there. I can have materials, transformers, and supply and put a battery welding machine to get the battery tabs. Heck, I could even just buy a oversized capacitor, charge it up on a 12-volt battery, give me that one zap to get the battery weld if I really had to cheap out on it. And I can replace my own batteries at, little tabs are pretty cheap. And so really when those batteries die, it's really only 1 or 2 cells out of the whole pack that die. Granted, the others are going to go out fairly soon afterwards, but typically if you have 2 bad cells, that whole pack's shot. So even if Cobalt dies at some point in time, I don't see how they're going to do that. You never know what Lowe's is going to do. It's really interesting to see what they did with their I don't know. With the way they've done Stanley Black & Decker, brought that in so quickly, and then the new outdoor power equipment line that they brought in from Home Depot. Sure, I mean anything's possible, but they don't have a bunch of hand tools. But Craftsman's got a bunch in, so it'll really depend. I think it's kind of interesting. You always think when a new hand tool line drops, they got at least a year before they're going to make any more changes to it. So I bet Cobalt's fine. If not, we're going to start a battery welding project. The wife is gone with the tools. No, I play with tools when she's gone, so that is a good thing. I always put them back where I found them. She does. There was that one time she didn't. Usually it's probably the kids, though. When are you going to test the Snap-on impact gun? That's too rich for my blood, man. I do have a friend that picked one up. It's the older 8550, I think. But I don't know. It's one of those things they really all, when you get up into the 4, 5, 600 foot-pounds, do you really need more? Okay, you don't have to answer that. We do want more and we do need more, but yeah, it's it's a lot. I bet Client Graphics will be walking around like a Ghostbuster after he starts his battery welding project. Dead batteries are a cost of doing business. Yeah, that's true. I mean, but it's a really amazing. You know, if you think about 3 or 4 years ago, you know, a little battery pack like this, the cells actually cost you like $20 to buy. And so if this cell had this battery pack had 5 cells in, it's like $20 just for the cells. So when Harbor Freight was selling the Bauer pack for like 19.99 or maybe 24.99, there wasn't a lot of markup in it 2-3 years ago. But now there is. The battery price on those single 18650s has come down since they've come out with the high capacity cells. I really wish that the manufacturers would drop the price on those 18650 packs, but haven't seen it come down. I've only seen them go up. I think I have 18-volt Snap-on batteries. I think I have 55. Holy cow. Yeah, that's a lot of cash. Assuming they're all good and they all work. The first person I call when they all start going bad. Yeah, but I have to have something go bad so that I can get a battery welding machine or make one. So when I make one, then it'll be worthwhile. But there's a lot of different manufacturers out there. And honestly, to me, it's like, you know, they say that red lithium, there's really no difference in the input or output of the cells when you get to some range. I mean, there's 1 to 2 minutes of runtime between DeWalt, Milwaukee, Makita, but at the end of the day, that's running it straight. And there's not a lot of people that run a tool straight for 10 to 15 minutes without some sort of break. I mean, I don't know anybody that's just sat down on an impact driver, held that trigger for 10 minutes. That's not how you work your tools, but they're all pretty level set in my mind. Great live stream, man. But I'm out. John, have a good night. You know, we're going to start wrapping things up too. So be looking forward to the things that I have, which is going to be the battery tools. So we're going to be doing the DeWalt, the Milwaukee, and like I said, my wife's going to make an appearance in that video. We're going to be doing the 2 and the 4 amp hour battery comparisons with that. We'll probably do a video on the Milwaukee 8-inch wide jaw because I haven't seen a single one out there. And this is a pretty sweet tool to pick up, which is like $3 to $4 cheaper than the Channel Lock wide jaw. Not the slim one, but the wide jaw. I think it is pretty handy compared to the pliers wrench. And if you can have that 8-inch, replace your 8-inch and your 10-inch in your bag, makes it a little lighter. Assuming that you're working with a lot of easier to remove fasteners, it can replace the 12-inch in some sense. So that's pretty sweet. Got the Mac tools, 1/4-inch flex Mac access, pretty nice ratchet. Thinking about picking up the Gear Wrench 90 tooth locking flex head. They've come down in price. I think they're about $44 to $48 on Amazon. Speaking of ratchets, Astro Tools has released, I don't know if it's fully available on Amazon yet. Let's check it out real quick. They released their nano ratchets. So they're going to be the 3/8 inch drive in the 1/4-inch body. And they have an 11-inch one that looks really, really cool. Astro Nano ratchet. And if there's a link to it, which there is, the 3/8 inch long is not currently available, but this should be able to get you a link to Amazon. And I will be reviewing one of these because I'm basically Just waiting. The manufacturer said they have shipped, but they do have the 3/8 in the 1/4 inch body. They are quick release. They may make some fixed head ones that are non-quick release, but who doesn't like a 3/8 inch body in a 1/4 inch ratchet head? And they even produce and publish some of the torque specs on it. So we figure if there's anybody out there that's willing to produce and show torque specs, I'm willing to match that. And so we'll see how it performs. My wife was telling me that she loves me. And honey, if you're listening out there, I love you too. So we're going to, again, start wrapping things up. But if anybody's got any more questions for me, if they want to know how things are holding up, my Tekton hard handles, they're doing pretty good. I do have a nice little nick in there, but that's probably because I was using it as a hammer. That happens. How much was Long Drive 3/8? It's out of stock in your link. Let me look. It is out of stock. I was able to purchase it, but it was like a pre-order purchase. So we'll see if it shows. I want to say it was like around 30 something. Your orders. Order received. View or change this order. I paid, let's see if I can show this here. It was 3164 is what I paid for it. So $33.93 after tax. So not too bad. So hopefully that gets you all the prices you need on those. And when I get it in to review, I'll let you know how it is. So 33, 22, and 28. I probably should have ordered that 1/2 inch drive one. That one isn't too bad. But that'll be kind of cool. I'm pretty interested to see that one. Like your test, but could you measure the slop of the ratchets? I actually did get a digital angle meter, but I haven't really decided how I want to measure that slop. It's of little use to have 3 degrees. I totally agree with you. I just really having to try to figure out how to articulate that so that it makes sense and visually looks good on a video. It's kind of difficult to do because of the amount of movement by your hands. It's almost like you really need to truly have the ratchet in a vise and then have an arm extension on it and then be able to move that, if that makes sense. So when I figure that all out, I'll definitely throw that in there, and we'll backpedal, and we'll do that with, a bunch of ratchets, just like we did with the Who Makes the Smoothest Ratchet, where we just banged out 27 different ratchets. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, I don't know, because I don't know. Would you rather have just one big old video with all 27 different ratchets and get it all done in 12 minutes? Or would you rather see 8 of them in 3 separate videos? I mean, some of those things, like, I don't have a lot of people to bounce around those ideas, if visually or functionally how that works better for you guys. I try not to have everything really just overwhelmingly like I'm not into 20-minute videos. I try to keep things, I did like some 17 minutes here or there, but man, that's only because it was like an hour or 2 worth of footage that I tried to cram down. Even the impact videos on this, I tried those 6x6 grids. Like, I thought that was fantastic, where you could see the side by side of all 6 tools at the same time. And it saves you as viewer like a ton of time to be able to see all of those tools at the same time, instead of having, if you had 6 tools and you watch 10 seconds, that'd be a whole minute. All of them 6x6, bam, you're done. You get them all in 10 seconds. I think it's pretty cool. Perhaps a showdown like Project Farm did with the oil. that was really cool. I don't think there's a lot of people that would sit there and watch oil slide down like a little slide in any other way. But I'll tell you, Project Farm made you want to see who's the fastest oil running down that little track. So I think that's great content. I wish more people would have watched the Impact one, but we're still going to do another one because enough people got me interested to see how Milwaukee and DeWalt really did. So we'll see if they're any better. Like I said, I got my wife interested enough that she was starting to play with some of the tools, and she's got a clear favorite. I mean, not sure if she's going to share that one when it comes to looking at and adding in the Milwaukee and the DeWalt, but I can tell you that she definitely wanted to chuck these two up, and I might let her have at it. So we'll say she's got a little my blood in her and definitely wants to destroy some things. So that's always good that she's in the chat saying she likes all my tools. So appreciate that. That's why we continue to share them with you guys, because you guys like the tools too. So can't complain. I'm still, jury's not fully out on all of the Knipex stuff. I mean, I only have 2 of them, but if you can make them work for you, they might be the best darn tool. If they're not something that you're going to use every day, it's still really hard to justify. It still amazes me and blows my mind that, these aren't the Cobras, but there's still a lot of people that didn't know that the Cobras really are supposed to lock into place, and you're supposed to just be able to wrench that thing and just lift up with a hand. So that was kind of interesting to see how many people commented on that. And I had, like I said, had a couple of viewers that asked about, how to pick a good adjustable wrench. So I hadn't done a video on that. So I'm glad I picked up the Milwaukee Wide Jaw, which will be able to get some good content out of that. And I still do have a ton of ratchets that I have to break. So you might let her. Does she let you? Thanks for giving her permission. I can tell you she's out of town till Sunday night. So really figured I'd share some of my time with you guys. And I don't know, kind of in a spot where it's like I have the ability to produce a bunch of content, except for I just don't know fully how to put it all out there. It's like I'm at a point where I want to do something different, but I don't think there's really anything different that I could do. So I'm open for suggestions. I mean, have you guys ever been, like, say you've had a certain car or a certain tool, and like you want to test the waters for something else, but you don't really know, and then you maybe go for a test drive, you kind of like it, and then you get it, and then you're like, I didn't really need it. It wasn't life-changing. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I feel like I should change something up, but at the same time, everything is continuing to work. So if you guys have any suggestions on something to do different, let me know. I mean, if there's definitely some certain tool manufacturers and some places that I've looked at. Should I keep looking at those? Should I branch out to more Home Depot and Lowe's things or not? I mean, I definitely have Do Not Rob Me telling me to go to some more pawn shops. You're right. It wouldn't kill me. Wouldn't spend a ton of money on it. So yes, that's a definite one that I will keep and think in the works. But the reality is on that one, there's always some deals and there's not always a lot of deals. But I don't necessarily know what people want to see, because real life is that you're not going to get the killer deal that you see on TV all the time. And so, if you just want to look at tools like I do, then I probably should just put it out there, because then you can go through a whole video and you can find out, at the end of the day, if I walk home with a Right Tools 8-inch adjustable wrench for $2 to $3, I think that's a pretty darn good deal. But it takes about 3 to 6 weeks to find one of those. And that's maybe all I got in the last 3 to 6 weeks. But, it's about finding an 8-minute video on that or a 6-minute video where you get to dig through all the stuff and you find that one thing. And that one thing was, look at that thing. That thing was beautiful. I mean, like pristine condition. And believe it or not, after checking that Right Tools USA one out and comparing it to one of my other Craftsman USA, I'd have to say that Right Tools made some of the USA made Craftsman stuff back in the days, because they're nearly identical. I mean, even down to the Western, well, it's got the WF, which I would think would be Western Forged, down in the handle. And it's got a K and an R and a W and an F on the Craftsman one, which is almost identical, because that's got a W and an F and a D and an S, which nobody would put those markings in the same spot if they weren't made from literally like the same manufacturer. Take the pawn ideas, then switch to Craigslist. Find the deals. Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll have to look for it. But I can tell you I won't be looking at Snap-on toolboxes. Bought the DeWalt for the house. The Hazard Freight is a new tool. Haven't. I can tell you the Bauer one right back there, really was surprised with it. I mean, actually disappointed that that 1/4-inch Harbor Freight Bauer Impact isn't on sale for $59.99. We'll have to see if it goes down, but that was a pretty good deal. Here's an idea that I don't know how to do. We all see odd tools on Amazon, but that's just one of those things where you kind of have to find them out. And, my email address is clientgraphics@gmail.com. If there's something out there, like, and I wouldn't take every suggestion, but if there's some things out there that look really darn close, that might be the same, that maybe you wouldn't be willing to take a look at, but you'd be interested to take a look at it, maybe send it to me via email as a suggestion, and I can definitely take a look at it. And if I see that it's something that's intriguing enough that I can get enough comparison. So just because this one item looks like a Snap-on item might not mean I have the Snap-on item, but might be interesting enough that I could get the Snap-on item. But if I can also compare that to something else, then that I might look into. So shoot me an email if you see something like that, because I'll definitely put it on the list of two things to do. Antonio Claudio Michael in the house tonight. I think COVID is making Harbor Freight prices skyrocket. I don't think it's just Harbor Freight prices. I think it is a lot of places in general. And I think it is a lot of places aren't able to skyrocket prices because they don't have any stock in. So if you look at even lumber prices, we talked about a little bit earlier, or certain items at even Walmart. So like my wife has been wanting some Dawn Pump foaming soap. It's the liquid soap that you basically pump it and it comes out in foam, not the hand one, but it's the dish soap detergent. And it's been out of stock for literally the last 12 weeks. And we were able to potentially order some from Target, but I don't know. I've heard horror stories with people ordering in soap and then they break and then they, get over any of your other items. So you really don't want to order them with any other items, and you want to maybe make sure that the manufacturer packages them a certain way before they send them to you. Anyways, she saw some at Target this week. Actually, I think it was Walmart. Sorry. It was the Dawn Platinum foaming soap, and they were like $248, which was way cheaper than anybody in Amazon, including. And she's like, should I get some? I'm like, you should get 6, because you never know when it's going to come back in. It's soap, it's cheap, and we use it. So yeah, even diapers and things like that, they've not necessarily gone up in price. They've just gone down in discounted prices or on sale prices. So yeah, very true. A lot of stuff has gone out of stock. Our grocery stores are still low. Trucks are coming in half full. Yep. Grocery stores are another good point, where I don't know if you've gone to like Sam's or Costco, but I can tell you a year ago when you went to Costco, if you looked at all of their shelves, they were literally all the way full, all the way to the top. And now a lot of times the top shelf or the 2 top shelves are not full, which means they've burned through a lot of their back stock, which would keep them afloat for, I don't know, 4 weeks, 8 weeks. The toilet paper incident, for instance, I mean, they burned through their back stock so fast that the manufacturing had to play catch up to get the current stock and the restock stocked. And those are now starting to come in, and start being not so bad. But there's a lot of other industries that haven't caught up with it. Harbor Freight and any of your other tools that come from a lot of other manufacturing. It's not even just China. Some of the stuff is Canadian. It just really depends. Everything is really slowed down. So grocery stores are bare bones nowadays. They don't have the sales that they have. So one thing a lot of the big box stores and even some of your home improvement stores didn't tell you for the longest time is they weren't running as many sales so that they wouldn't drive foot traffic to the store so that people wouldn't buy everything. The problem is that a lot of places shut down or, said they're essential only, or people would make up excuses to go to the store when they really didn't. They just wanted to get out of the house, and then they'd buy things that they didn't need, or they'd go to places that were considered essential because they could, and they would buy random things that they didn't necessarily need either. I had a gallon container of hand soap beneath my sink hooked to a pump. Haven't bought soap for years, but it just ran out. So now you're in the situation where you got to find soap, and that's what happened to us. All the USA made Tekton tools at my Cal Ranch store are bare stock. A lot of the USA made stuff has been bare stock for a lot of time from Tekton. So Tekton released their crow's foot sets, sold out within a day or so. I definitely grab them up. Definitely if you've been wanting them and or you need them. That's the other thing. If you don't just buy an item because you don't need it. But yeah, my wife is really wanting to talk to me. But yeah, Tekton's another interesting one to talk about. I mean, I've looked at some of their tools that have hit, and I've looked at it and was like, ooh, maybe I should get it. And then the next day, like you said, Antonio, if it's not there, they're gone. Are USA tools out of stock because materials from China are not available to make them? Well, it really has to depend. When you say USA tools, think about Snap-on. Where's Snap-on headquartered? How is Snap-on going to get out some tools with the current climate they've had going on? I haven't heard anybody talk about Snap-on and where their environment is located or within the same state, and see if that brings any issues to them. I mean, just saying. I'm having issues with this stream. Have a tropical storm in my area. You could. I'm pretty sure my stream's pretty solid. We got 1 gig fiber, and it hasn't let me down at all. So bandwidth for me, shaky light poles and that stuff doesn't really happen. Everything to my house is all underground. She's saying call it a night, but don't make it like, yeah, she's not. She's actually very helpful, and she is my better half and tries to really help move things along or talk about certain things. As she said, stay safe with all the storms. So, I mean, she's in here and there is not a darn thing that she needs me to do. The kids are all asleep. The house is all picked up, and we're going to have donuts and juice for breakfast tomorrow. So it's going to be a pretty easy day tomorrow. Is Miss Graphics at teacher stuff? No, actually, she is a godmother to her niece that is having first communion ceremony tomorrow that has been postponed for the last 4 to 5 months. So it's going to be really fun for her to be at that and see her goddaughter make her first communion. So we're excited for her, and she's got a really, really neat gift that's lined up for her. Although it was dated for the day that was supposed to happen, which was, again, 4 to 5 months ago, it'll still be a great gift because it's signed by some pretty cool people. So we're really excited for her to make her first communion on Sunday. Donuts and juice. What's the address? The last time I remember other places that were serving donuts and juice, it sounded like church, and they usually charge like 50 cents to $1. But we're gonna hope to get up early enough to not just have the powdered sugar donuts, which we got as backup, because the last time we went to get donuts, believe it or not, the store ran out of glazed donuts, and that's pretty much a staple that I like. Would have thought they would have not ran out of glazed donuts, and when you run out of glazed donuts, guess what? They also are out of donut holes. So we didn't luck out the last time, so we got our powdered sugar white donuts as backup, and we'll just get our glazed donuts hopefully. But the juice is just going to be standard orange juice. What's the gift? It's basically a signed ceremony kind of thing from the Pope. A blessed certificate from the Pope. Yep, that is exactly what it is. So there was like a whole form to fill out, and they date it and sign it and name it and all that stuff. And so unfortunately, the date didn't happen because pretty much everything got canceled with the COVID things back in April or so. But we're still really excited, and it still means the same thing. So we are really excited for that one. We can talk about Heart Tools a little bit before we wrap things up. I did get a full replacement set from Heart. A couple of their bits seem to wear prematurely, even though these are a wearable item and not supposed to be warranted. They were kind enough to hit me up on one of my Instagram posts and said, hey, what seems to be the problem with them? And I talked to him about them and said I used them in normal operation, which I actually did. And they sent me out a new set. And so that's why we broke a lot of bits in the last video. But we'll see how these hold up. Hopefully they'll hold up better. The case is really easy to spot. That's why it's brand new. The old one, can't find it. Oh, wait. Yeah, I can. There we go. The old one, we're just a little bit shallow or shy on the bits, but it's still held up pretty well. Let's see if we get some little dirt and wear on it. Ryan, thank you for the $1.99 donut and juice fund. Really appreciate it. The Fit Protein donuts are great and usually artistic here anyhow. We usually just get the Hostess brand, and then there's an off brand, which is about 45 cents cheaper. Can't think of the name off the top of my head, but that's what we like. That's what kids like. We'll every now and again get the little glazed cake donuts. Those are pretty good too. We've seen your videos, normal operating conditions. No, but I know I'm serious. We were actually just putting together bike ramps with those. With not drilling into hard white oak from a pallet. That stuff is extremely hard. I wish I could really just tell you how hard that is. Zaphael with the $1.99 super chat there. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, that's really about it. Oh man, that's too bad. I still did not put back my 14 millimeter from the last live stream. Thank goodness everything got put back. It only took a week later. I feel like my life is complete now. It was really going to frustrate me. I did finally get a new plaque. My wife gave this to me for my birthday a month or so ago, and they got this brought out to the garage. So Dad is where the home is. That was kind of nice of her. So that was a new addition to the garage. And believe it or not, this is a Tekton welding pick that I picked up on eBay for like $6.99. Which honestly, I think it's very, very similar to the Harbor Freight one, believe it or not. But the kids like that. You should see the things that they want me to sharpen that up. They just want to take it to some some tree roots in the ground. But you know what? Kids will be kids. They're going to get up way too early tomorrow, and I'm going to have to get up with them. So we'll go through a couple of these comments here, and then we'll shut some things down. So the Shaggy Rifleman, I got some new tools as well. Thank God I signed up for stock notifications. Oh, yeah, that's great. Whether it's Tekton or any other brand, that'll tell you when things come back in stock. So if you have your eye on any of the Tekton stuff, that's definitely a good notification to do. Shaggy Rifleman, I'm not sure which brands that you bought, but if you want to share in the chat what brand of new tools you got, that'll be really cool to know. Dick Skinner Snap-on Shop on tools, I count 6. If I didn't mention, I did pick up the Mac Tools hat. Of course, it's got a little splash of green on there to match that guy back there. Have a good night, Ryan. Really appreciate you joining the chat, as well as your $1.99 juice and donut fund. Hey, there's a video, best socket carrier. You know, I really think these like longer 14-inch ones are really nice. And here's the funny thing, like this is a Stanley 3/8-inch drive one. I can't find this anywhere. It's just something random made in Taiwan, but it's able to fit a 7mm up to a 22. I believe there is a 6mm that technically could go on here, but I don't ever really use it. So honestly, I probably don't even need the 7 because I typically don't use that. 8's really where I start. But to go up to 22, which I pretty much never use that anyways, that's a great Craftsman USA set. That was actually one of my first full sets that I picked up after I had my standard like 8 to 19. Aero Precision is the brand. Been trying to get this for almost 8 months now. Oh, what'd you pick up? I'd be kind of interested. Sometimes that's the thing. There's certain brands that we don't know about until we hear about them from other people. And not only that, oh, is it some AR-15 kind of things? Did you get a upper? Because then that would be the non-serial part, so you could have that shift to a non-FFL, or did you get like a lower and have to go through your FFL? Does it have 20 on that bar? No skips? I believe it does. Yeah, no skips. There's the 20. The thing is that I don't believe they made a 20 in the 12 point, but they make it in the 6 point from Craftsman. So yeah, that's a no skip from 7 to 22. BW's Electronics, $2. I see your $1.99 and raise a penny, Zaphael. BW's Electronics, thanks for joining the live stream. I know I've seen you many times in Brandon over at BSS Small Engine in his live chat. I think that's actually probably where we met or how we got connected was through Brandon's live streams. And so really appreciate you coming along for the ride. Brandon's a great guy, and so is the Neil, the maintenance man. We have a couple All-Trade socket sets that have no skips. Now, All-Trade's one of those interesting brands. I don't know if you guys have ever followed them back many, many years ago, over the last 20 or 30 years. They actually did a lot of big rebranding or rebadging for Snap-on for some of their tools back in the early 2000s. And I believe they had some quality control issues, and Snap-on dumped them from putting their Snap-on name on some items. And All-Trade actually makes a lot of the tools for power builds. And then the recent relationship with Ingersoll Rand for their socket and hand tools. If you saw the SEMA video from 2019, and they actually have a website now for the Ingersoll Rand hand tools, but a lot of those are made by All-Trade too. So it'll be interesting to see. There's not a lot of people that have got any of their hands on the actual Ingersoll Rand hand tools and socket sets and put them out in daily use or anything like that. But it'll be interesting to see how those are, and hopefully All-Trade's got their brand and their quality control back up. I got the stripped lower as it's on the way to the FFL. I have to go in tomorrow and let them know. Cool. So I don't know what FFLs are going for nowadays. When I picked up some of actually the last job I had, there was a guy that was an FFL that worked at my work. He did it in his spare time. It was kind of a big hobby of his. But that was really, really cool when I had an FFL that worked literally 20 feet away from me. But now I think the going rate is like $30 or so, $25, $30 for an FFL if you have to ship it to them. Everyone's different. They got to cover their cost to do business and their license depending on the volume that they do. So that's pretty cool. I am back. Had to take care of a little problem. That's going to be a big problem. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, old shop school repair. Okay, take care. I don't know how old these All-Trade are, but my dad's got them from a pawn shop about 20 years ago, and that's pretty awesome. We actually, when we had our cars broken into, we did have a guy come out and help with a couple of the vehicles. And believe it or not, the tools that he laid down were probably in the same category as All-Trade. And I asked him, tell me a story about your tool set. And he's like, oh, this is my set. I've had this for like 20 years. And I was like, really? And it just goes to show you that he's like, I bought this set. It was a cheap set. He's like, I just needed it to get me past a year or two, and it's lasted him 20 years. And the funny thing about it is he still hasn't lost any of the sockets, and he hasn't broken any of the things. And he said that he's bought some more expensive tools and continues to go back to the cheap tool set that he bought because it's the first one. And he says that if he ever broke any of these tools, which could happen at some point in time, he said he was going to be lost. And it's really funny, depending on where you're at in your life story for your career, work history, you remember your first tools. You remember the first time you broke those tools. And even though you got better ones or paid more for them that you thought were better, you still might go back to your old one or still look around to see, oh, could I ever find a used one of that tool that I had that I broke? That was my first one. I don't know. I just know that everybody's got their own personal different story, but I know I won't forget my first tools. I have an All-Trade socket. Unfortunately, never got to use it because it's the 11/16, and I have never had to use that size. I picked it up at a pawn shop about 6 months ago. That's pretty funny. Maybe you'll find something. Worst case scenario, you do like a reverse search on it, and I've always wanted to do like socket stories or a socket diary and basically go through each socket size and tell a little story about it and find somebody that's had an issue or a complication with a certain size, because there are sizes out there like the 20 millimeter. Not everybody uses it, but there are certain vehicles, some fuel filters and other things. I think it's a GM that'll use a 20 millimeter every now and then. And there's other people that'll never run into it. 11 millimeter. I hadn't used it for the longest time. Ran into it on my Ford, believe it or not. So it would be interesting to hear all of the different sizes, or at least a couple stories about 2 or 3 of the sizes that you might run into, and actually physically show them using that socket size. So, it's one thing to say it, but it's the other thing to talk about it. Yeah, Ford uses a lot of 5.5. Somebody said, when are you going to torture that Matco ratchet? Well, that's kind of like a love-hate one. Everybody thinks that it's easy to break tools, and it is, but there's an attachment that I have with my tools, and they all like to have a good story. So one of them has been well used, and I have new internals for it. And the other one was from Justin Dow, which is that nice big blue locking flex head. That one, I honestly, I don't have enough in me to break that one, even though that there's a warranty on it. It's got a sentimental value to it. It's from a friend, and it's really hard to try to get rid of something like that. But I can tell you, he also did give me a repair set with it. So I really don't want to break the repair set. Call me sentimental or foolish or silly, whatever. But the orange ratchet handle one, it is on the docket. I will get to doing that one, and we're probably going to do a Matco versus Mac Tools, and so we'll get that on the list of to do. It's just Hasn't been the most exciting thing for me, but no, we still have our super expensive socket. It should be right up here. So it's not like this is gone anywhere. Sometimes people always wonder, they're like, hey, where's your stuff at? Is it gone out for calibration or things like that? Nope, it's still sitting here. So we got our $3,000 world's most expensive torque socket. So we got to get that going. This company, I'll tell you, Torque Tools Inc., the owner out there, his name is Chris. Man, if I ever get a chance to go down to Texas, they're just a really, really awesome company to work with. Really awesome. We have an old Sears and Roebuck 22 rifle. That's pretty cool. We have a 22 as well. It is a Remington 597 semi-automatic. We really like it. I think you can set up your Instagram stories to ask for stories. That would be really cool and keep people's replies. Chat, if you have Instagram, go follow Chris. That would be really cool. I'm not like super Instagram savvy, but I do have my link to Instagram, which I can throw in chat. That's where we put all the little things that are too little to show on YouTube and may not stack up and ever get seen. But every now and then we get a chance to throw a preview or a clip that might be coming to YouTube. So that's what gives us ideas to talk about, nut drivers. Just because Harbor Freight comes out with something doesn't mean that it's the worst thing, but it doesn't mean it's the best thing, or it could be the thing for you. So that's why looking at nut drivers, I can tell you, Common Electric, even the Husky brand, they work. So the Shaggy Raffman, I will do that after the stream. Thank you for following me on Instagram. Look forward to it. And Old School Repair as well. Thanks, guys. Have a good night, Antonio. We'll talk to you later. Back when Sears and Roebuck sold good stuff, yeah, all the stuff now is from China. Not to say that it's bad, because a lot of the best electronics are made in China. Not necessarily always the hand tools, though. But with that being said, we've been rocking and rolling here for an hour and 49 minutes. We've had a lot of cool people in and out of the stream. Do you have a Snap-on 18-volt charger? I do not. Just followed, forgot my phone lets me keep videos playing in the background. Oh, yeah, if you got an Android phone, you can minimize and you can go do other stuff. But if you have an iPhone, you're not able to multitask like that. Maybe one day the iPhone will get that, but it's not here yet. So I feel you. And if you were able to do that, then you definitely have an Android phone. But if you don't, let me know how you did it on an iPhone. Dick, I can tell you that you can probably hit up eBay for some Snap-on chargers. They're still going to be like $30 though, at least. But yeah, we'll wrap things up. If you came in late, we'll show you the view of the last couple things. I think this is just hilarious. So I made my purchase when I picked up the little 4-inch Pittsburgh digital caliper. We picked up one light. It happened to be the last light in an entire box. So I asked them, hey, can I have the box? I have a use for it. And they're like, yeah, we're just going to throw it away. So I was able to complete my Harbor Freight free light collection. So we got 12 lights in a brand new box. And yeah, we'll probably have to put a picture of that on Instagram. I think that's pretty hilarious. Just means I shop there. Which, that's what you want to know. You want to know that whoever's reviewing your tools, are they paying for them? There's the Pittsburgh caliper. We bought that to get our free light. That Milwaukee wide jaw. And Mac Access. Really excited to use this one. Really like the fact that if you push on the back of these, the ratchet handle goes all the way through, and there's no play in the tip on these. So that's a decent high quality ratchet. If I recall correctly, Proto pretty much makes the internals on this for them. And we got our Milwaukee and our DeWalt Atomic. Those are on sale at Home Depot. And still looking to get the Rockwell done on the Robertson Square number 2 bits. And we'll get that video out as soon as we do that. We got lots of the 2x4s back there, which we've already put the square number 2s through about 100 or so fasteners. So we're going to get them up to about 200 or more before we check the wear on them. A lot of manufacturers I did talk to said you should be getting at least 200 fasteners when you're using your bits. If you're not, you're doing something wrong. Oh, we got Audubon Dan. Nice hat. Yep, that was one of my purchases this week. I actually had him order it in. He said to go with the black and green one, as the flex fit on this one was really nice. There is a gray one that has green on, but it's got the mesh. And he said, people haven't been liking that one as well, or it just doesn't hold up as well as this one does. So we ended up taking his word for it. And yep, this one came in like the green for the green. So, hey, Audubon Dan, just in time before it ends, did you hear Client Graphics talking about Instagram and Wake Up? Yeah, that's funny. So, I don't have his link up here, but if he wants to throw that in there, if you are all jumping on over to Instagram, Audubon Dan will cover you for all your tool needs, all your tool truck needs as well. He gets a visit from his Matco and his Snap-on, some of the Mac stuff, and some of the stuff that you guys don't even know exists out there. Audubon Dan will cover it and post it on Instagram. And he's got 20,000 plus people that really enjoy his content. So I don't have any shame saying that you will like it too, because I know you will, because I follow Audubon Dan on Instagram. Dick Sitter said, no, I'm going to send you a 1/2-inch impact gun from Snap-on. Do you want the new brushless 795 or do you want the older model? I have several of these. It really wouldn't matter, but it probably won't do me any good until I get a Skidmore in, so we can really test out some of the torque ratings on it. So you might wait till I get one of those. I've still been looking at those. They're still like $600 to $700 on eBay, and I've been buying too many other things to be able to afford that. I think one thing that really makes the channel successful is pretty much everything that I make, I reinvest in tools so that we can bring you guys those kind of things, because that's what makes the tool channel great, is you buy tools. Audubon Dan says the tool shed garage has been killing me lately. I think he's got like $80,000 in his tool shed garage already, with 2 to 3 sheets of drywall for fireproofing, which I've never even heard of, but it's crazy. He's got a really expensive garage that, some people could build or get all the materials to build a house for. Mrs. Client Graphics, over 30,000 people think Audubon Dan is awesome on Instagram. Definitely check him out. Sorry, I guess I've just been following Audubon Dan for so long that I remember before he had 20,000. I remember him doing things when he hit 20,000. If he hit 30,000, then I'm falling behind, because I don't remember any like 30,000 bash for him doing 30,000 subscribers. But congrats, Audubon Dan. Yeah, basically a house for his garage. And we had Craig from MC Engineering stopping by. So, hey, Chris, how's it going? Just stopping in for a minute. Well, it's going good. Really appreciate you stopping in. It's pretty cool out actually tonight. Otherwise, it was up in the 90s this week, and it's a pretty nice evening. So I'm really enjoying it, man. Hopefully you're having a good one and a good Friday. So cheers to everybody out there. And thanks for joining the live stream tonight. Really appreciate it. Couldn't do this without you. You're basically what helps make the channel go around. And now it's just one of those points where it's like, there's been a lot of things going around. It's basically time to get some of your feedback when we talk and look about tools, so that we hone things a little bit better. FYI, the crickets are on. Yes. And in case you think you have some need to exterminate, I did. So you see that right back there. It's not always the best to use brake clean to try to get the crickets, but it does work. And that's the good stuff. I think Dick Skinner got some of that. That's the 3M stuff. Yeah, that's the high power brake cleaner, the 3M. I'll tell you, that stuff really, really, it says provides less odor. I do not believe it. I think that when you spray this in fairly confined areas, it still is very strong. and it might actually be good. Verdict's not out on that one yet, but I think wasn't it you, Dick Skinner, that bought a bunch of this 3M high power brake cleaner? Lube them crickets. Yeah, I think the high power brake cleaner does more than lube them. I think the crickets want to take, and the funny thing is they're all along the edge of the wall over there, so they're literally like 20 to 25 feet away, but they're loud. Sorry, I can probably turn down the gain a little bit, but yeah, the cricket is driving me crazy. Well, so we'll go ahead. Audubon says no white claws yet. I need to add them to my grocery list. 3M is awesome brake cleaner. It's the only kind I use. I can only get it at Napa, nowhere else. I want to say that I picked this up, believe it or not, at Advanced Auto. I think they had this on special 2 or 3 months ago. It was 2 for $6, which I thought was a heck of a deal for the 3M high power. Rubbing alcohol is better for killing crickets. Rubbing alcohol and a cheap sprayer. Rubbing alcohol is pretty expensive with people using it for hand sanitizer lately these days. I stick to low-cost brake cleaner. They work as good as others. Yeah, if you're going to basically drain a whole or half a bottle every job, then it does get pretty expensive any way you look at it. But I don't know. I don't use a ton of it, but when I do, I want it to work. Harbor Freight doesn't sell any iguanas to eradicate them crickets. Honestly, we found Mrs. Graphics, if you can post in the chat, what did we find this week? And we found out that they eat crickets, the stick bugs, whatever those are called. The praying mantis, that's what it is. The praying mantis actually eats other bugs, and we caught one so that we could take it to school. How good are the Duralast ratcheting wrenches? That's a good question. I can tell you that 2 to 3 years ago, they were pretty fantastic. I can tell you now that the majority of the Duralast tools have all been outsourced and are made by Apex Tools, which also happens to make gear wrench, but they make them in the same range as the Husky tools. So Apex Tools also makes a lot of the Husky tools nowadays. So a lot of the Duralast ratcheting wrenches and other tools are very similar, if not really identical, and just rebranded to what you could get at Home Depot in the Husky line. So if you've had good luck with Husky or you've heard good luck, then I can tell you that they'd probably be on par with the Duralast ones. You know, you're always going to pay a little bit more for tools when you're buying them at the auto parts store. That's just my 2 cents on them. I can tell you the old stuff was really amazing, and I did pick up way too much of the old stuff before they clearanced it out. But I haven't had any problems with it, and the Duralast has a lifetime warranty on it. You need to make sure that they put it under your account, and I think 9 times out of 10 they do want a receipt to make your return or your exchange easier. Otherwise, they're going to ask you for a driver's license for it. Just my experience with it, I've warrantied out probably a half a dozen things from AutoZone. So yeah, be prepared to show your driver's license if you don't have your receipt. And I haven't tried the digital receipt thing, meaning I took a picture of it. So always take a picture of it. Worst case scenario is you're not going to have your receipt. You're going to want to show them a picture. A praying mantis. Yep, that is exactly what it was called. Thank you. You bought too many tools. Never happened. Titan seems to be doing good at auto parts stores. Yeah, I have a couple Titan things. I have one of the ratchets. I still need to break that too. Any feel for whether Tekton traditionally has a sale for Labor Day or Black Friday? I typically don't have one for Labor Day, and they do a little thing or two for Black Friday. So the Black Friday isn't going to be like a flat 15% off or anything like that. It's going to be select items. That's what they've done in the past. Select items, maybe 15 to 40 items will have a discount on them. But that's again just what they've done in the past. So I wouldn't imagine any Labor Day sales, but Black Friday they do some things around there. So that's interesting. We should, you know, they're pretty quiet with some of their marketing things. They don't always tell us what they're going to do, but I mean, I could definitely see what's going on. But I would just guess that they're going to do 15 to 20 or so items at a discounted price of their choosing. Let's see, BW Electronics. They turned a bunch of crickets loose in my high school for a senior prank. They were still in the building years later. Joseph, no problem. I like Tecton. You know, if I knew all their sales and everything, I'd be all over it. Like I said before, when their USA made stuff comes out, if you're not looking at your phone and you're not ordering it the same day, that stuff is going to sell out. It's just how it is. The old 36 tooth Duralast ratchets are awesome. They're especially awesome if you do a spring clip on them to reduce the drag. You can get them down to 4 to 5 inch ounces. Stock, they come out twice as heavy at 9 to 10. And I actually do have one of the OEM tools, the silver, or it's at the flat finish on it, the satin. That's on the list to break, which is the same internals as the old Duralast 36 tooth. I can't get the Duralast 36 tooth anymore. I might maybe pick up some new internals, but that's on the list to break one of those as well. Tecton has a student discount. Get a student ID and email from your local community college. You can get 15% off, as well as the 10% cash back rewards. So you get both of those. But I believe they take the 10% back after the 15% discount. So if you spend $100 and you get a 15% discount, they give you the 10% back on the $85. So you'd only get $8.50 back instead of the $10. But that's understandable. That's pretty much how all your discount stores, whether it be Harbor Freight, whether it's Kohl's, they all take it off after the discounted prices. I can't wait to get a Tecton toolbox. That'd be pretty cool. I looked at the Tecton toolboxes when I was comparing it with this, and honestly, I did a post on Instagram, and the actual pricing between the two, the Icon came out being a couple $100 cheaper. But now, if you look at the Tecton toolboxes, if you like the way they do their rollers on there, they're supposed to be super smooth. And that latch that goes across the whole entire drawer, that's kind of cool. The Icon one doesn't have the latch on there, but they do have the adjustable tension for those, for the pull. So, you know, it's just a different mechanism. So, I mean, the Tecton one looks pretty cool too. They just know they don't have any top boxes. So from what I see, it's just the bottom box, and that's it. But no frills, and you get the black and red. Yes, Tecton is on the amount spent. Hey, Shaggy. Hey, Dan. And Sergeant Joe Smith changing his name again. At least I like the Sergeant Joe Smith. That Joe Smith and Friends Network was always so long to type in if you wanted to at somebody in the chat. Tecton's life and warranty on their boxes. You know, that's a good question. I don't remember seeing that it wasn't, but I don't remember seeing that it was. That's interesting. Let's Tecton's website is really easy to navigate, and the really cool thing about Tecton is they straight up tell you, for the most part, where everything is made. You just have to go look. It's pretty much big and bold. We'll see if it's the same way on their storage stuff. So I'm on their website right now. I'm clicking on the 30 by 24 inch, and we're scrolling down. We can see the caster weights on there. You guys can't because it's not super easy to share my screen. Talks about the duty cycles, and there's a video. Says the toolbox compare. It says country of origin, so that's really good. Like I said, the majority of all their items show where they're made. This is made in Canada, so it means if you do your math or look up what the Canadian-made manufacturers are, I can't remember if it's a Listabox or who it would be, but there's only 2 or 3 top Canadian brands that make toolboxes, and I don't see anything about warranty. Yeah, it's not easily searchable for warranty. There's a $275 extra shipping fee for the Tecton toolbox if you're in Alaska or Canada. And, you know, it doesn't say. The drawer cycles are tested for 130,000 operations. That's a really cool thing about Tecton is they tell you a lot about some of the testing methodology or the times, where they don't just say a certain spec. They actually tell you what that spec is, if it meets or exceeds it. Guarantee and return policy, free shipping. I don't see anything about warranty. If it's covered under their always guarantee, then it would be a lifetime warranty, but I don't see, again, where it says always guaranteed or warranty. That's an interesting one. So if you're thinking about getting a Tecton box, I would definitely make sure you understand what the warranty is. Look at the hyperlink that goes to the blanket warranty description. I didn't see that. I asked Tecton, they said it is a lifetime warranty. Well, there you go. I had to buy a DeWalt bit last week. I hope they don't make their other tools like they make their bits. You got to watch out on some of the DeWalt bits. Some of them are made in China. Some of them are not. Some of them are made in Vietnam. Some are not. It was really interesting on one packaging. One size said made in Vietnam or China. And then if you bought the bigger 25 pack, it said just made in Vietnam. So I was like, what does that mean? How do I know where it's from? How can you say it's made in two places? I got a Cobalt ratchet set. The selector seems to slip easily and is frustrating. I don't have any of the Cobalt ratchet sets. The one that I do have is a 90 tooth, and it has seemed to be fine for me, but they have quite a few different ratchet makes and models. Do you need to get a device that can see if an impact gun truly has? I do. I really do. Otherwise, I only have a torque device that goes up to 1,000 foot-pounds, but you typically don't want to max your torque devices, but more than 80 to 85%, even on the electronic ones. So truly, I mean, my range is about 850, except for that torque socket goes up to 1,500. Which, it's a 46 millimeter socket. So there's not a lot of things that, I guess I could put the nut. Yeah, I could see about welding up some threads to that 46 millimeter nut. And then just do the breakaway torque with the 1-inch drive. Yeah, we could do that. Then you're getting the true actual like breakaway torque with an actual threaded fastener rather than just seeing what the Skidmore has for tension. So, I mean, it's still doable, but I'd rather just get a nice machine, because that's something that I'll always do. It's not like I'm going to just not stop wanting to torture test tools and see how they work. But I don't know anybody locally that has one. And typically after I buy one, then I find out. The hyperlink is at the top. I'll have to look. I see free shipping. I see guaranteed return, guarantee and return. Is it under the guarantee and return policy? Oh yeah, tool cabinet guarantee. Our tools come, returns 30 days. If your toolbox is defective, please contact that and we'll make it right. That's pretty blanket. Once the tool becomes yours, we're available to help you no matter where you got it or how. Yeah, it's the blanket one, so it sounds like it is the lifetime warranty. They'll make it right. Tecton always has. It's in the PDF. There you go. Yep. So yeah, it does say, but again, they'll make it right. So like I've had snap ring pliers that I bought off of eBay, and I talked to the warranty guy there, Dave, and I was like, so Dave, what do you do if I break these or they break? And he's like, we still have back stock of those. And I'm like, well, what happens when you don't have back stock? And this is probably like 9 or 10 months ago. So they might not have back stock. And he said, well, basically, if we don't have back stock, what we do is we kind of put a target price to them. He's like, something like that would be, I can't remember if he said in the $15 to $20 range. But he said, typically, if there's something of equal or similar value that you see on our website, we'll go ahead and ship it out. If not, we'll give you credit for it. He goes, it's up to you. So to me, that makes it right. So if I bought the set and he was willing to give me $15 on a pair of snap ring pliers that weren't available anymore in the $15 or $18 range, and I pick something out or the money, it's the same thing to me. This week, I got an email from OTC telling me about their 3-ton jack stands. Do you think I should go with the OTC 3-ton or wait until Harbor Freight 3-ton? If it was me, I wouldn't wait for anything on Harbor Freight. That's just really kind of how my process is. I've been wanting to get some swivel impacts, and they've been sold out at my Harbor Freight store. So I'm probably going to go with the Sunex set. And honestly, they have a Sunex 3/8 master set that you can get I believe it's like 7 to 22 millimeter in shallow and deep, and the impact swivels. And I want to say it's like 130 or 140 bucks, which if I just would have bought that set to begin with, I would have got the swivels, the shallow, and the deep all in the same brand, and it would have been cheaper than the Icon ones. But you live and learn. My guess is almost any tool from Taiwan is of decent quality, and I agree with you. China, usually USA is often good, not always pricey. Yeah, that's pretty easy, pretty well sums it up. But I've also had the USA not, but that's pretty much sums it up. The electronics from China are great. I also sent them an email asking if they plan on expanding their toolboxes as well as adding other colors. I'll let you know the answer. That would be really cool. I'm off to bed. Mrs. Graphics, have a great night. I hope you have a good night, everyone. Thanks for hanging with Chris while I'm away. Thanks, guys. Can you install spark plugs on a warm engine? Yeah, you can. I mean, you can technically do whatever you want. It scares me. Some people would say that, you should hit the spark plugs with an impact gun. But honestly, they're pretty much right. If you are going to hit use your impact gun to hit your spark plugs, technically the way the torque applies to your spark plug, while it can be higher, if it's going to break it free, it's going to break it free. If it doesn't break it free, it's going to break it. You're going to break it with your ratchet anyways. If I recall right, you'll want to have the engine warm up and then, let it sit for a little bit. Is pretty good practice to remove them, as that way all the internals and everything is expanded just the way that you would want it. I believe you would not want to do it on a cold engine, especially if it's an older model. But it's like changing your oil. You don't want it too cold or it's not going to run out. You don't want it too hot because you're going to burn yourself on the tailpipe. But you want it warm enough that it's going to flow out easy. So warming up the engine to remove a spark plug was good practice. Yes, I agree with you. So that is what I was doing. There's actually some really good articles that talk about that. And I mean, Autobahn Dan, he does automotive mechanic stuff as his full-time job. And, I'd be interested to see what he's been told about hitting spark plugs with an impact socket and a wrench, because from a torque standpoint, I mean, if you're going to break it, it's going to break. Doesn't matter what tool you use. You're probably pretty much likely to break it if you use your impact, but you have a better chance of it freeing up than breaking versus your standard hand ratchet. But I mean, it's a bad deal if you're going to break it either which way. So we had a guy at the dealership where I worked who had his impact set to tighten. See, that's where instead of taking out, and he learned his lesson. So that's the one mishap. You can hear it crack when you torque it. Yeah, you know when it cracks, and you only do it wrong once, and then you're done. I had to clean out my emails yesterday. Got rid of 1,500 emails now for other 5 email accounts. Thanks for all of your articles that give you mixed answers about questions. Not a problem. I would never use an impact to remove plugs. You can pull the threads at that speed. I mean, honestly, I've never done it, but theoretically, if it's going to break, it's going to break with either tool. You're going to have a better chance to break it free. It's just like when you work with your exhaust. I did a video on the right angle impact from Cobalt. And, you know, I knew that that bolt was going to break. Didn't matter what I used, whether it was an impact or a ratchet. But the impact broke it way easier. Just didn't break it off. Only works with chrome plated sockets. I use an AST socket and never had a problem. I have, which sockets do I have? And I never did a video on these yet. I have the ABN 6-piece spark plug socket set, and this is really close to one of the Matco sets. It's not the gear wrench set, because the gear wrench set I think has one less spark plug, but you know, the fit and finish on these, well, it looks like the Matco set. It just isn't perfect, but all in all, they work. And this has been the one I use. They're magnetic on the inside of these too. But I mean, I think I paid like $43 for this. They're made in Taiwan. The Matco set is a lot more expensive, and it's very similar. But the ABN one was pretty good. ABN 7573. I don't even know if they have those in stock. There was a big rigmarole about them. And 75, 73, where they weren't in stock for the longest time. But it's the 6-piece one. Let's see if they're still in stock. Yep, I guess they do have some on Amazon, $47.99. So if you're going to go with gear wrench, go with gear wrench. If you're going to go with something that's maybe cheaper of the same equivalent, the ABN ones were definitely pretty good, and they still have them in stock for $47.99 on Amazon, which they were out of stock for the longest time. And honestly, there's not really that big of a difference between some of the 5 pieces compared to this one. And it's got all the sizes that you would typically need. I mean, the majority of the time you're going to be using that 9/16. Very rarely have I ever used a 13/16. On some of your older vehicles, you're going to use that. Turbo, yeah, you're going to need is it the 18 millimeter thin walled spark plug for BMWs? Yes, a bunch of little torque pulses will better overcome without breaking. Yes, yeah. But if you put it in to tighten it down or the on position, then you're pretty much screwed. But at the same time, if you don't do it full bore, you've definitely seen videos where people actually talk about tightening it forward before they remove it just a little bit. It's basically the wiggle. If it's a Ford Triton, you can use the impact on forward because it doesn't matter. You're going to bust it no matter what. Yep, that's funny right there. That's for sure. That's how you do it. Well, guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up. We went way over 2 hours, and I've had a good time. I really do appreciate everybody hanging with me tonight. Why don't you throw in any more last chance, like something down in the chat, and we will maybe answer it and wrap up here in 5 to 10 minutes. Let's see. Dick Skinner, are using my baby impacts. You're talking about 1/4 inches? Yeah, you know, 1/4 inch impacts, that's one of those things where it's like, I want a set, but I don't think I'd ever really use a 1/4 inch impact set. I say that now. I bet Autobahn Dan uses this 1/4 inch impact all the time. My Nissan uses a 14 millimeter socket for the spark plug. You got to know when to stop when she slows down. Dick, I'm sure you don't use too many baby impacts like 1/4 inch, do you? You just work on all the big stuff. But I really do want, Autobahn Dan picked up a set of the 1/4 inch Capri impacts, shallow and deep, metric and SAE, and got the trays, the machined trays with them. How are you liking the channel lock cart? You know, that was one of those funny things where, you know, I posted it up because it was made in China to channel lock specifications, because they do a lot of their tools. They talk about made to specifications, and that one just happened to be. But the cart, it's fine. I mean, I got it on special for $100, which I thought was a pretty good deal. One of our local distributors is a channel lock dealer, so I should probably get a chance to do just to walk around of the 2 aisles that they have channel lock. That would be pretty coul. I went to see your review on Tecton's new crow's feet. I didn't buy them, actually. They were sold out before I got a chance to buy them. Those capris look nice. Power Stroke, hope things are going well for you. How hard was it to ride the Honda motorcycles? I don't have a Honda motorcycle, but my first motorcycle that I bought was a 1980 Kawasaki KC650. It had 4 carbs, 1 carb per cylinder, and I made some carb balancing sticks. And it was probably the best thing once I got it all fully tuned. It was a very heavy bike. That is not the one that I had an accident in, but the bike survived me, and I survived that bike. The bike that I got that made me go to wearing full protective gear was my 2004 Suzuki SV650, which I owned for less than 28 hours, and it got totaled. Any suggestions on a good set of T-handle Allen wrenches with the ball ends? No, I don't have a good one because I don't like ball end. Typically, I've used them before, and it's one of those things that I've twisted off more Allens with the ball end than it's worth. So I don't use ball end. There's probably a couple people that would disagree with me and say this one application works really good for ball end, where you have to get your Allen in there and there's not enough room and you need to move it 7 degrees off to the side, and then you're pretty good. But chances are a lot of people round off way too much stuff with the ball ends. So to me, I don't really have a good suggestion on ball end, but I would like to break some sometime in a video just to show how bad they are. Fires stink. So many people displaced by fires in California. Yep. Sorry to hear that. Audubon Dan, hope everything's going okay. Yeah, I can totally agree with that. Cummins is a better diesel. I'm a Ford guy. I don't like diesel. Do you have any recommendations for air compressors to run 1/2-inch impacts, 3/8 ratchet, air hammer, and angle grinder for DIY home mechanics? I personally would go with the quietest, biggest size one that I could get, and I'd probably be looking at the Cobalt quiet compressor, and I'd probably be looking at the Harbor Freight one, as well as maybe an Ingersoll Rand, something that maybe Tractor Supply might have. Those are the 3 brands that I would look at. And I think the one that I actually end up having, I think I have a 20-gallon Coleman, or maybe it's an 18. And I've had it for 18 years. And when that thing dies, I will be okay with it because it is very, very loud. And when it dies, I'll probably pick up the Cobalt one. I did a comparison between the Harbor Freight and the Cobalt one just for sound. And I didn't do it at any like approved distance. I was like 5 or 3 feet away from it. And I think typically they take sound measurements from 10 feet or more, maybe 12. But I'd probably get the Cobalt Quiet one. But I definitely look for a deal on them. And they do run them every now and then. So you got to start. So if you know that you want a compressor, anything like that, you need to start tracking the price 3 to 6 months out and make sure you've done your research on it so you can get the best deal on it. But I can tell you the Harbor Freight ones that they have, the gentleman that worked on that line came from DeWalt. So basically all of the things on the Harbor Freight high-end line are all the things that DeWalt should have done better. So you'll see things on some of them where the wheels are a little bit different, or the handle, when you'd go to hold the handle and roll it behind you, it won't hit your heels because the handle is a little bit shorter or longer. I can't remember which model it is, but they've done little different things to it that make me not want to recommend the DeWalt ones. Although people have probably used DeWalt and had really good luck, the Harbor Freight ones are just they've tweaked the DeWalt portion of it. Here in India, we dropped 12 valves in everything from lawnmowers to Jeeps. That's quite a few. But guys, I'm starting to lose my voice, and it's getting late. It's almost 1 o'clock here, and I got kids that are going to get up in the morning. So really appreciate y'all all hanging out with me tonight. Really had a great time. Drop me an email, Chris at ChrisAtCryantGraphics@gmail.com. Make sure you check out Audubon Dan on Instagram as well as myself. We'll throw that here one more time in case you didn't get it. It's not like we're trying to spam you, but we just want to be able to connect with you guys, throw ideas out there every now and then. You never know. On Instagram, I typically pick a couple different people every now and then and say, hey guys, I'm going to launch this video today. You want to take a look at it? This is a preview where you can take a look at it. It's not released to general public. Have at it. Tell me if there's something I could have done better, or if I really mispronounced a word or something like that. Always looking to people to have early previews of some of my videos, because it's like you're in high school and you try to proofread your own paper, you're not going to get an A on it. So I need the help from each and every one of you. So I really appreciate it. I'm just a guy like you hanging out in their garage, having a few and talking tools. So again, thanks for coming along for the ride. And as always, guys, work smarter, not harder. We'll catch you in the next video. Later.